The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and decay destroy, and thieves break in and steal. But store up treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor decay destroys, nor thieves break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there also will your heart be. The lamp of the body is the eye. If your eye is sound, your whole body will be filled with light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be in darkness. And if the light in you is darkness, how great will the darkness be?" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Please be seated.
Mayroong isang lay renewal movement na nagsimula sa Mallorca in Spain na naging napaka-popular sa mga Katoliko in the 1950s. At ang pangalan nito ay Cursillo de Cristiandad. I'm sure some of you are still familiar with the Cursillo. Nagsimula pala yon sa Spain. And then it was exported to Latin America and the United States in the 1960s. And it spread like a wildfire all over the world and reached the Philippines. Maraming nag-aakala na itong movement na ito simply died a natural death or burned out like a brush fire, yung tinatawag natin sa Tagalog, ningas kugon. Well, I think, in fairness, it merely laid the foundation for the myriads of lay renewal movements that emerged later on, several decades after. Mga BECs, PRECs, the charismatic communities, and many other groups that sustained the renewal of the laity in the church in the last few decades. Meron din silang isang famous song, De Colores. Well, aside from De Colores, the Cursilistas were also known for their famous icon of the Christ, which they called the eye, ang mata. I know na I am familiar with the Cursillo dahil lang yumaong ama ko ay naging member ng movement na ito. At naglagay siya ng icon of the eye sa aming family altar. Itong icon na ito, which is called the eye, is actually a close-up picture of the image of Jesus with his sacred heart exposed and with very well-pronounced eyes looking at the onlooker straight in the eye. You know, I used to wonder, bakit the eye ang tawag dun sa imahen na yon? The eye, singular. Bakit hindi the eyes, plural, kung tumatawag ng pansin sa mga mata ni Kristo? Well, today's gospel makes me realize that the eye that it is referring to is actually the Sacred Heart, portrayed as pierced, bleeding, and burning. Merong isang famous line that became a favorite quotation sa mga beauty contests. Bukang bibig ng mga beauty contestants kapag Q&A portion na. And I am referring to that line from the book of Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, The Little Prince. There is a chapter there where the fox character is talking to the little prince and is giving him the secret. Sabi niya, here is the secret. It is only with the heart that one can see clearly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Favorite yan ng mga beauty contestants. Too bad. That saying has become cliché. Ika nga sa English. But it contains a very profound truth that today's gospel is elaborating on. Seeing well in this passage is of course just a metaphor for discerning properly between right and wrong, truth and falsehood, essential and unessential, good and evil. Para bang sinasabi ni Jesus, one good sign that you have a discerning heart is when you have the wisdom to pursue the things of real worth, the things of real value in this world, or what He calls the heavenly treasures, yung mga kayamanan na hindi daw mananakaw sa iyo ng kahit na sino. And so the two parts of the gospel are actually related to each other. Yung first part is about the treasure. And the second part, which is about the eye. Paano ko ikukonekta yung dalawa? Well, I would connect them this way. Tell me what you see as your treasure in this world, and I will tell you where your heart is. Tell me what you see as your treasure in this world, and I will tell you where your heart is. What matters is to see with the heart. And if we see as treasure, kapag tinuring nating kayamanan yung mga bagay na lumilipas, kapag tinuring nating katotohanan yung kasinungalingan, o tinuring nating mabuti ang masama, then that means we have a heart that cannot see. We live in darkness. Our hearts are blinded. I started with the Cursillo, and I mentioned their theme song, De Colores. Yung yumaong ama ko, he joined the Cursillo, and I remember, ang greeting ng mga Cursillo sa isa't isa ay, De Colores. And I also learned yung kantang De Colores. Well, I will not quote it in Spanish anymore kasi Espanyol siya. Now I realize that what that song is saying is, kung marunong lang tayong tumingin mula sa puso, if only we can learn to see with the eye that they are talking about, which is supposed to be the heart, the pierced and bleeding and burning sacred heart of Jesus. If we can see with the heart, then we will be able to perceive God's grace at work in the world, at work in our lives. To see with the eye, singular, is to see with the heart of Jesus. And when you see with the heart of Jesus, you will not see black and white only. Rather, you will see in many colors. De colores. We get to see God's amazing grace that saves the wretched sinner and enables him to hear the sweet sound of God's voice, so that he who once was lost now is found, and he who once was blind now can truly see.